Okay, we're live, but I don't think anybody's watching, so we can say anything we want, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess so. Anyways,
Where are all you lonely bastards this morning?
Fuck, did I get the date right today? I did. October 15th. Pretty good. Not bad. What the hell
Where are you lonely bastards this morning?
Fuck, did I get the date right today? Oh, shit. Shit. Why doesn't somebody remind... God, I wish YouTube would let you shut the sound off, while you're waiting, right? And then that wouldn't happen. God.
And YouTube doesn't know what you're doing outside of the tab you have currently opened.
Well, it's pretty obvious that the people that write YouTube software for my phone and a few other things don't really give a fuck what I want. That's all they care about is, we got some software and we're YouTube. We can do anything we want. On your phone, it just sucks ass. And there's so many things that they get wrong. It's just unbelievable. You touch
Yeah. With a lot of social media apps I use, it's kind of surprising how much they get right. Because there's times where I think I really feel like having KFC, and I get an email almost instantly from KFC. It's like, what the fuck?
So you're comparing cow shit to dog shit.
What do you mean?
Basically, software, you're saying that all social media software sucks, and YouTube sucks just a little bit less.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Cow shit is better than dog shit.
Yeah,
it's actually more tolerable for some reason.
For whatever reason, for whatever myopic reason.
Maybe it's only more tolerable because my old man had me shoveling it when I was a fucking toddler. It's like I got used to it. And it's like, oh, this ain't so bad. That dog shit, though, that's bad. I ain't shoveling that shit. Chicken shit, on the other hand, you never get used to. Anyway, I think I'm off track. So Smokey last night did a video on the no true Scotsman fallacy, which I think people misuse a lot. And I've always suspected that I misuse it, without looking into it. So, and I made a comment on his video that I think they're probably right. So what it involves is it's actually you probably shouldn't use the no true Scotsman logical fallacy at all. You should probably call it fallacy of ambiguity, where you don't define something. You'll say no true A, or no A would do B. And then somebody will give you an example of A doing B.
Yeah.
And you'll say, oh, well, that's not the true A. So you've changed your definition to make your argument, to win your argument, basically. So you've made a replacement, or you become finer. And I think the idea is, okay, they're claiming that Catholics aren't Christians. Is that the gist of it? Catholics aren't Christians?
Apparently.
And then we'll say, oh, that's a no true Scotsman fallacy because putatively, Christian means, anybody who believes that Christ is risen or whatever, or thinks Christ is some sort of a God or part of God, right?
Yep.
But then Smokey will say, no, they're not Christians because because of things that he's added. So it's not really that they're committing a fallacy. It's that the two of you have two totally different definitions of what a Christian is, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's that. And then so where the hell was that? Okay, the rage last night. So Jen Aldridge comes in and pulls a Batman move just like stupid or energy. Yep. So I love when they Batman these guys. It was pretty cool.
It just amazed me that Smokey freaked out about the tits.
Did he? Did it throw him off? Because I didn't watch the entire thing. Maybe we should watch the clip. Should we? Because it wasn't.
Okay. It needs to be left alone. The man needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. But yeah, and then she chose red, which is the devil's color. They really have a problem with that color.
I don't know. I've always thought like red and pink are very like sexual energy colors.
I always thought that red was like, well, it depends on what you associate red with. And I've done a lot of subjective work with the color red. And everybody, when they see the color red, will be jarred a little bit because we use the red color as a sign to indicate a lot of things. Cops are pulling you over. Stop, slam on your brakes, stop lights, stop signs. And the color
red basically, I mean, is the look at me color.
Well, it's also the color you have when you get hit by a bus, blood, so I mean, it's a pretty significant color. It's also the color of a ripe fruit, which is
depends which fruit. But yeah.
Huh? Yeah, the original sign, and probably one of the reasons why we have a strong emotional attachment to it. So we use it for things that are important, but it indicates blood too. So there's a lot of things that happen when you see red suddenly. And for a long time, I had something called what the hell did I call it? A brain slap or whatever. But one time I noticed that this guy pulled up in a red convertible into our yard, and I walked up to him, and the sun was shining on the red, and it just slapped me to the point where I became kind of incoherent for about a minute, and I was just and my brain felt like it was really sick for like a minute. I was just spinning around in circles, and then I noticed that every time I saw a bright red object, full field, it would throw me into this state. It would do this. And this was after I had taken LSD, so I thought it was an LSD flashback because it felt that weird, right? Yeah. Well, then when I was around 40, I got tested for ADHD with a TOVA test. And so I started reading and talking to doctors about ADHD because I scored off the charts on it. And one of the symptoms of ADHD is that you will have triggers that feel like somebody slapped your brain, and you'll go into this state where for like 30 seconds or a minute, you become really, really not almost nauseated. Like you don't know what's going on. Like you're really displaced. And it happens if somebody embarrasses you or somebody surprises you, or you like see a color, something like it's really interesting, but it's associated with ADHD. So I believe that is what happens to me. So I have to be careful when I walk into a bright red room or, a room where Jen Aldrich pops in. Anyway, so I think it has that.
Her boobs will snack you in the face before the whole red does.
Yeah.
God, the woman's got tits. I'm sorry. I need to get that out of my system. I'll stop. Okay.
Why do we have to get that out? Why do we feel it's necessary to point it out?
How do you avoid it?
How do you avoid it? Just don't say it.
I mean, it's...
You know what I do in situations like that? I look at her eyes.
One eye looks at the face and the other eye looks somewhere else.
Not me, not anymore. No, I trained myself. Sorry. So, no true Scotsman appeal to purity. Yeah. Informal fallacy. It's informal, in which one attempts to protect the universe.
You trained yourself by electroshock therapy? More.
Ah, but you didn't hold it. It's just, being signaled into emotional states is what we're talking about, right? Red signals you into an emotional state. So do boobs.
Sure. I'm not sure about emotional, but
well, yeah, it's an emotional state. You're feeling a great deal of limbic force when you become sexually triggered.
Yeah.
And that is what happened to Nicholas when he looked at the trailer. Apparently, he became sexually triggered. He felt emotion. If we're having a conversation and I use the word fuck as an adjective, or I stick it in there somewhere, it slaps you a little bit It engages the right side of your brain. It engages emotional response, and it makes more powerful what I said because it signals an emotional response in you. Red signals that response. Sexual triggers signal that response. And Christians hate feeling that emotion. That's why they don't like swearing. That's why they're always, cussing, they call it. And that's why they don't like sexual triggers. And because Christians like to, they like cream of wheat, really, really boring fucking cereal that nobody should eat.
It would explain why Smokey is very bad at making insults. Or creating, insulting names for people.
Yeah, well, garbage. Yeah, he invokes things that bring about an emotional response, and garbage does. Trash, clown, garbage. Trash, clown, garbage.
I just find it amusing because I've had more hardcore shit thrown at me before, and it's okay, you wanna try that? That's not that doesn't faze me at all.
Yeah. So no true Scotsman is. Scott is talking here, generalization from counterexamples by changing the definition in an ad hoc fashion. So every time you try to argue, you'll change the definition, that sort of thing. So, which is kind of interesting. But that whole stream last night, I was watching The Boys. I managed to, I had to rewatch the first season because my brain no longer records series. I can watch a series and then watch it again 6 months later. And enjoy it almost as much as the first time.
I do that with some series.
Yeah. Well, fuck, when you wait The Boys, I think it was almost 2 years before they did the second season, and it's Jesus Christ, there's a lot that you have to go back and recap. But so I think Catholics, okay, is moving the goalpost fallacy more than Well, I think they fail to it's the fallacy of ambiguity where they fail to accurately define what they mean by Christian. And when you listen to Smokey talk about who is a Christian, it's difficult to figure out what the fuck he's talking about because he has some really strange ideas.
I mean, there's a very clear definition of what a Christian is. I mean, it's people that adhere to, who say that, they believe in that Christ died on the cross as the personal Lord and Savior, that he is the Son of God.
Yeah, but if you are a Christian of a particular sect, you will not use that definition. You'll have your own idiosyncratic definition.
That's a definition that unifies all Christians in terms of their fundamental doctrine.
Yeah, which is accurate, I think. So I don't know. Anyway, so
anything else to that is secondary.
Yeah. So there's that, and then Otangelo.
Oh man, he must be getting lonely at this point.
Otangelo came up with a comment on my one of my videos. Maybe we should deal with Stanley first. No, Stanley was complimenting David Neff, but they really like David on him being honest about fallacies. And one of them was appeal to authority. Okay. So Stanley in a comment said something like, I like David Neff's honesty in that he agrees with him about appeal to authority. Well, what they're talking about is we appeal to 99% of all scientists or biologists believe evolution, the whole evolution story, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's accurate. So is that an appeal to authority? But if you...
it's not fallacious.
No, it's not a fallacy, that's for sure. If you go to an auto mechanic and he looks at your car and he comes out and says, well, we need to replace your valves, and you say, and you go tell your spouse, we need to replace the valves, is it an appeal to authority?
No, it does not.
Well, it's an appeal to authority, but it's not an appeal to authority fallacy.
Yeah, appeal to authority only occurs when the person that you're appealing to is not an expert in their field.
Yeah, or
that's how it's defined.
Well, if all biologists said that Kellogg's Corn Flakes are the best cereal for it, well, no, that wouldn't. They might actually say that, but I don't think they would say it. If all biologists said that your valves are bad,
yeah, that wouldn't have any influence on if your valves are actually bad or not.
Yeah, because biologists have no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of dicey, but this logical fallacy was made popular by Wiki and social media in the last 10, 15 years, so that people fucking overuse it and misuse them. And they're actually kind of dicey to understand, some of them. So a lot of people misuse the whole thing. But anyway, so standing for truth like that. But then Otangelo Otangelo, he came in and commented on one of my videos again. I wonder if he resubscribed to me again, because the other day when he was on our chat, I watched my subscription count go down like within 5 minutes after he got mad at us in chat.
Oh, really? Maddox did?
No, Otangelo.
What about what?
Otangelo unsubs and then resubs. I don't know.
Golly, Otangelo, make up your fucking mind, my man. Like,
yeah, I don't know if he resubbed again, but it doesn't always tell you who subbed. But every now and then I see Otangelo subscribed to me, and I'm like, "Fuck! I thought he was already subscribed to me." And then,
oh Lord, Otangelo's just, I don't know. I mean, I think he's running out of people to talk to on his like God talk thing, because we were like one of the few people that would like come in and interact with him.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So he said, let's see, under Brains and Minds morning report yesterday.
Yeah.
Was that yesterday? It was the day before.
Day before, I think.
Okay. So he posted near-death experience evidence of dualism.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he okay, so we got like fucking encyclopedic entry where he copies his cat's board thing into it. So, hang on a second. Fucking cat hair on my mouse. Apple mouse does not like cat hair. Okay, so here is his thing on near-death experience and his proof of dualism. But the first line, well, let's put it on the screen. Do you got anything you wanted to cover this morning that it might?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's interesting. Otangelo kind of like interjects at really random intervals, but it goes to show that he's like watching our content. That's fun.
Oh yeah. He's keeping an eye on us because we tickled a nerve. That nerve that says, "Oh my God, these guys might have a good argument." And when you tickle that nerve, people watch you. That's why Standing for Truth keeps an eye on us. Even though he calls me irrelevant, and keeps trying to tell me that I've never put out good arguments against him, he keeps an eye on me, and there's a reason for that, because I've hit that nerve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, if thought and logic come from proteins, chemicals, and neurons, then laws of logic would be different for everyone, since no one has the same chemical and neurological patterns. Now, let that sink in.
It's too early in the morning for this.
I mean, that is a really, really, really bad argument there. If thought and logic come from proteins, chemicals, and neurons, then the laws of logic would be different for everybody, since no one has the same chemical and neurological patterns.
No, that's... Logic and those types of things are human constructs, right? They exist only because humans invented them, and for no other reason. They aren't objective features of the world. They're linguistic structures that we adopt and have created.
Well, okay, if, let's see. if cars, okay, so something about automobiles. Okay, if automobiles were defined as things with wheels and tires and an engine, then no. How the hell was that? I don't know.
Let's put it this way. Suppose you own a car for a moment, and you, but you're in a room where you can't see it. Does your car still exist? That type of thing?
What? Run that by me again.
If you have a car, but you're not in a room where you can see your car, does the car still exist? Type of thing?
Yeah. Well, no. So let's say, okay. He's saying that if logic comes from proteins, chemicals, and neurons, which is a reductive, basically you've reduced your brain to that, then the laws of logic would be different for everybody, since no one has the same chemical and neurological patterns. So if humanity comes from having a brain and organs and, the characteristics of a human, then it's not possible that you and I are human because we have different proteins, chemicals making us up, right? That's what he's saying. So I mean, because you and I don't have the exact same proteins and chemicals making us up, we can't both be the same species. It's basically what he's saying.
I think he's ignoring the fact that there's more fundamental structures at place here instead of just what chemicals happen to be interacting at some particular point in time.
Now, something else interesting about this, he thinks the laws of logic come from your brain.
That'd be kind of bizarre. Wouldn't make sense, really, but okay.
Or come from your mind. So the laws of logic are different for every. So he thinks the laws of logic are built into your brain, which is what a believer would say, because your brain, are built into your mind, because your mind came from God, and God created the laws of logic. So I think that's what he's saying. So this is what is it with not emergence, but what is the other one? Brain not working this morning. We shouldn't wake up on our stream. We should probably wake up before we do these things. But
I mean, if you want to get me cocaine or a nice gallon of hot chocolate, I'll take it.
Well, I think meth would work better because it lasts longer.
Meth's a hallucinogen.
No, meth isn't a hallucinogen. No,
it makes okay. No. I've heard people hallucinated on it before.
On meth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, only if you take it for 10 days. If you stay up.
No, I'm talking about people who took it the first time.
No hallucinogenic effects. No. If somebody has a hallucination on meth, you need to get them to a doctor. It's probably one of the purest stimulants ever created. It just absolutely stimulates your brain. It doesn't make you hallucinate in any way. But if you take it repeatedly for days and days, you'll start to see shit. After 9 days, you'll start to see bugs everywhere. Or
it's a shame that we don't have the biological machinery of enzymes that can make us produce DMT in sufficient quantities, or other stimulants for that matter.
Well, if we did, you see the problem with that stimulant, meth, is that it just runs you out of neurotransmitters so quickly that you can't function for the rest of the day. So basically, you take all of your day's neurotransmitters and energy, and you stick them into a 3-hour period. And when you burn out, you fucking burn out. You can't sleep, yet what you really need to do is go to sleep. So it's like a devil's drug. It'd be like if you got out of bed in the morning and you lifted weights, and you had all your superpowers from the entire day were concentrated into that first 15 minutes. And then after you were done, you couldn't lift your hand anymore. That's what meth is like.
One thing I want to experience a little bit, and it kind of would be weird. I perfectly admit this, but they have areas that try to actually do pretty well in terms of mirroring temporary sensory deprivation. So they can do it by means of electrodes, but they can also do it in terms of designing an area where, for instance, you can't hear a damn thing. or like you lose like your ability to feel something or your ability to like taste or smell or something like that.
Okay.
There's a part of me that's curious, like what those things would be like temporarily, like not having those, like sensations available to me.
Yeah, I lost my sense of smell about 3-4 years ago. Entirely. I mean, it's really gone. So, and I don't know. I once had an amnesia, and that was an interesting experience because I couldn't remember who I was or where I lived, which was very, very interesting. It was about 4 hours. I had a pretty severe head injury, and it lasted for about 4 hours. But lost my sense of smell. Yeah, it would be interesting to. Well, throughout your life, you will experience various things, and it's interesting when you lose something and then you get it back again, and you can, do a comparison to what it was like. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, what I'm thinking about is like, suppose you lost all of your senses, like temporarily for like say 20 minutes or something like that. Would that essentially all sensations, so all 5 of your senses are just gone for like 20 minutes?
Yeah. Okay.
Would that be like death?
I think it would be sleeping.
No, I mean, you can feel shit when you sleep.
Well, you can't remember feeling anything when you sleep.
I mean, but you'd be conscious of the fact like that you have no sensation. Though, so this would be
actually, when you sleep, your thalamus goes into a different mode. What is it, tetanic? Basically, your thalamus goes into a mode where sensations don't get through your thalamus unless they're extremely powerful, like a really loud noise. So your brain is not feeling things when you're sleeping. You are without sensation, and that pretty much defines sleep cycles. So your thalamus has a couple of modes. One of them is what the hell is it? God, I can't remember now. I really need to review neuroscience, but it's got a mode where basically anything that comes in will be mapped, will be mapped with high fidelity. It'll be mapped with high fidelity. So a very small input, like your finger touching something, will basically go into your thalamus and be properly mapped into the system, into your cortex. But if you're sleeping, there's this basically it's driven to the top, so it's almost like audio distortion. Like if you turn your amplifier up too loud and the speakers can't handle it, and you have nothing but ugly distortion. If that were possible with today's amps, used to be able to do it. But anyway, so it distorts so nothing gets through basically. So when you go to sleep, your thalamus shuts off. Except it has a system for very loud noises and very powerful sensations, so that they will break through. So they work. So that's one of the cycles of sleep is to shut off your senses. So that's what it's like, is sleeping. Very much. Crazy sleep-wake cycles on meth. Yes, meth really fucks with your sleep cycles. You cannot sleep. It just keeps you awake. It's horrible. Yeah, sensory deprivation tanks. Your thalamus is still alive, so it's still on. You're awake unless you go to sleep. But if you want to know what it's like to shut your thalamus off, go to sleep. That's what it's like. That's what happens. And you go into kind of a different cycle. Like your system changes over almost entirely, so that information, you go through these different cycles in sleep, and the purpose of it, I think, the theory that I like the most is the purpose of sleep is in order to make long-term memories out of what happened to you during the day. Now, interestingly, when you make when you go to sleep at night, you're basically in your temporal lobes, you have stored everything that happened, pretty much during the day. You sort of have a memory of a lot of little details hanging around. And when you go to sleep, and you enter these dream phases, you'll cycle through those memories. And they've actually been like, they ran rats through mazes, and they were able to figure out where they were in the maze by basically scanning their brains, their hippocampus. And then when they were dreaming, when the rats went to sleep and dreamed, they could watch them walk through the maze again. So they saw the same signals. So they knew that the rat was dreaming about the maze. Now, to tie this back to the color red, the things that you basically dream about or put into your long-term memory are things that have powerful emotions behind them. So you'll take the emotional highlights of the day, because when you have a powerful emotion combined with putting down a short-term memory, it tags it somehow with that emotion, with that emotional strength. So you'll re-feel that. So you will remember things that were emotional. So when Christians see the color red and then they see boobs, they can't get the boobs out of their minds because the boobs were colored red, I guess. So sure. Anyway, it gives you a powerful emotion. So you'll pick up very, very powerful things. Like you won't remember yesterday except for the highlights, the parts that actually had emotional significance to you. So, yeah, learning consolidates during sleep. And the interesting thing is that they found out that some of the traces stick around for like a year, in your basically temporary memory. And it takes a year for some things to completely consolidate. You just keep adding to them every day. But, if you were to sit down and think about how you got to where you are right now, I assume you're at work.
Yep.
And what you'll do is you'll run through your hippocampus, and it's got like a little linear map. And you'll find some salient thing, like you'll think back, okay, when I got out of bed, and you'll tag onto some memory, and then you'll go to the next memory, and you'll be able to recall almost everything you did from the time you got up to getting to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to work a little bit to do it. You have to actually cycle through this map. Well, they found out these maps probably evolved, and I've talked about this before, to help squirrels find their nuts. No shit. Not those nuts.
Oh, the way you said that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The reason that we have the brains we have is basically because it was important to us to find our nuts. So, yeah, it was meant to have that effect. So anyway,
biology overlooked the fact that the penis and the mind do not exactly mesh well together, and so that happened.
Well, not those nuts. I mean the actual acorns. So basically, we have this linear map that allowed us to map space so that we could find our nuts. So we could find our way back home. So we could basically mark space in our minds. That evolved, and then we use that. Humans use it to map time as well. So we map time and space with the same mechanism. And we've managed to pull off putting the two together, which makes us kind of brilliant animals. So, okay. So let's see. Meth. Yeah. 10-day binge is most of the effect of, most of the bad effects of stimulant abuse are from losing sleep. You get crazier and crazier and crazier. And I have been up for 9 or 10 days. And I'm telling you, I know there was not a 12-foot troll in my backyard, but it sure as fuck looked like there was. I went out there and it's like, okay, there's a 12-foot troll standing there. It was really dark. And I said, I know you're not there, but I'm going back in the house anyway, just in case. It's pretty bad. Anyway, Otangelo. Fuck, we forgot about Otangelo.
We have to give him some attention now and then.
The enormous amount of information we have from NDE studies. I looked at the papers, and you know what? We don't have an enormous amount of information. There's one doctor that has accumulated a whole bunch of anecdotes.
Well,
one or two doctors. And none of those guys have actually proven anything because they've done some actual real tests, and so far they haven't had any valid responses that they consider scientifically powerful enough to believe that you leave your body and hover around in the operating room looking at yourself. So there are some very evident implications. Of particular note is the common NDE experience of meeting and interacting with those who have died. Yeah. But I pretty much do that a lot anyway. I don't know. Am I a shock jock? Are you referring to the squirrel's nuts? Anyway, okay, what else? So Otangelo, well, fuck. So now we got to look at all these papers? No, I don't know. Do you want to look at them?
Why not? None of Otangelo's papers really support his points because he doesn't fucking read them. So why not?
Near deathbed visions, past life memories, a convergence in support of Van Lommel's consciousness beyond life. Digital library arc. What the fuck is that? Okay. Oh God, he's probably going to send me to that site. Let's see here. The review supports cardiologist Pim Van Lommel's continuity claim for human existence. Where was this published? University Libraries, UNT. I don't know what the hell this is. Consciousness beyond life, resuscitated following. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, where's the evidence? I don't know. Okay. Oh, there it is. Physical description, abstract. Clues that mental activity can take place even in the absence of cerebral function. Okay, Van Lommel and colleagues concluded that mental activity can take place even in the absence of cerebral function. The fact that they said cerebral function kind of red flags me right there. Van Lommel claimed fundamental continuity for that. Okay. So how do they support this bullshit? The fact that somebody remembers that they were thinking something?
Apparently.
Okay, so you have a patient, his brain stops entirely, and then you resuscitate him and you wake him up. That's the important part. You woke him up. He is now thinking. And I assume you didn't just jump right on him and ask him questions. You probably gave him a few hours in recovery before you started asking him questions. And then you asked him, well, what did you remember while you were dead? And he's going to tell you, what is he going to tell you? Like if he had no memories and his mind was completely shut off and he put down no memories, he's not going to have anything to tell you. The only thing he's going to have to tell you is what happened in his mind between the time you resuscitated him and the time you questioned him.
Well, he might try to create events like that seem consistent, like with what happened like right before he died and right when he was waking up.
Right. Yeah. And so there's a lot of patching. So, I mean, how in the hell could they possibly ask somebody, what were you thinking while your brain was dead? and come up with a valid answer. I mean, the only thing they have is what the person reports. And I don't understand why these people don't understand that this is not something. The only way to do this is the way they've done it. They write something and they put it on top of a shelf by the ceiling. So they'll write some cryptic message. And if the patient can tell them what's on the paper after he's revived, then they've got some evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they found that doesn't work at all. Nobody can read the paper. So apparently nobody leaves their body and floats around the ceiling. But
apparently not.
So what is
UNT?
What is this UNT University library. Okay, about
University of Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, that'd be fucking insane.
God. Does that look like where Kent Hovind got his PhD?
Or University of New Texans. That'd be interesting.
University of New Texans. There you go. Modified first page. Okay, we're home. Well, let's go home. Let's go see what the UNT scholarly works, photography collection, thesis and dissertation, cyber cemetery. What is this thing? I don't even know what this thing is. By the numbers. Resources, scholarship provide. I don't know what the hell this is. Anyway, University of North Texas, maybe. Oh my God,
Texas. I remember University of New Texans.
What is wrong with Texans?
A lot of things.
I mean, they didn't used to be that way. You know, they were, well.
I don't know. They've always been pretty conservative.
Well, yeah, but they were like, I don't know. I was down there. I lived down there when I was 15 years old. And I had long hair, and I went to a barber because I was going to go to high school, and they would have, they actually beat you up if you had long hair in high school. They would slam you up against the wall and rough you up. So I had to get a haircut. So I went to this barber, and he said, "Oh my God, this is so exciting. I've never had one of these before." Like a long hair. He was all excited. It was really weird. So yeah, they were a little conservative. So anyway, well, we're not going to solve this problem. We're going to online. We're going to have to look into Otangelo's claims. Do you want to look into it?
I don't know.
You have nothing else to do today.
Going to look into Python coding, probably, maybe.
Oh, this is good. I have spoken to a person with a brain that isn't working. I've always held that Anthony Maurice sharpens his head in a pencil sharpener. He looks like that to me. He has a pointy head. God.
Anthony has like some really strange issues.
Yeah.
Because,
go ahead.
No, because like I remember, like I went into one of Smokey's streams once, and like it was on like morality or some stupid shit like that. And I was actually trying to engage, and he's like, "Oh well, meatballs all day about Genesis." And I'm like, Anthony, could you just like shut up? Like this isn't even the topic of the room. Like you're just being disruptive for the sake of being disruptive.
I know he always does that.
It's like, could you please like actually contribute to a conversation?
What? So what the fuck? What is that fish for? Crosswater Outfitters. I don't know. Yeah, Anthony Maurice. I've never heard him actually say anything
of substance.
Of substance, yeah. And Smokey was talking about him yesterday, and yeah, Anthony Maurice is our abiogenesis guy, and he's certified in pharmaceutical chemistry. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I don't know what that means either. I don't know if they just give those degrees away to people named Anthony Maurice or if he just is lying about that.
Yeah, I got a feeling he was in marketing or something, or some other job for some pharmaceutical company, but I don't know. And
like
he might have
maybe he worked as a receptionist or something like that, but I doubt like he's actually doing like chemistry and like pharmaceutical chem. That would genuinely amaze me if he is.
So Otangelo's second link is a YouTube video about some Vietnam War story. The first one is that paper, and what else do we have? What is silver weapon? Okay. Let's go see what this is. The silver bullet that killed evolution. I didn't know about that. My God. How are unchanging logical thought processes per the classical laws of logic and changing brains over time per evolution? Oh, this is a fucking gem. Oh, goodness, Otangelo. Otangelo. What are we going to do with you? What in the hell?
What's the $1 million? What's the $1 million prize I get to redeem?
So I think this is where he got this from. All men grow older. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates will grow older.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Cool.
Clearly, logic and truth. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, all men grow older. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates will grow older. We know with absolute certainty that the conclusion of this syllogism will always be true, assuming the premises hold, regardless of supposed evolutionary change. Clearly, logic and truth transcend our material brains.
No, these are consequences of language.
Oh my
and
God.
Linguistic construction. This is, wow.
So we have a black and white contradiction between Darwinian materialistic evolution and the logical thought processes that we rely. What do you do with people that think like this? What the fuck do we do? Oh no. We get to go on a church retreat with Otangelo. Oh my God, I can't imagine. I think I'd start drinking again. You know, I mean, there are a few things that could happen to me that would make me start drinking again. But I think a church retreat with Otangelo is one of those things. I don't think any amount of fucking AA rehabilitation could
and rescue you from that experience.
Right. Yeah, that would do it. I have to talk to my sponsor about that one. Oh, Smokey will seize on that now and say, "Oh, we're threatening his sobriety." Do you remember that?
Apparently.
I made some comment about talking to my sponsor about being conflicted over the shit I'm doing on YouTube, fighting with people. And Smokey somehow thought that he was affecting my sobriety. And I had to go talk to my sponsor because the only reason you talk to your sponsor is if you want to get drunk, right? Which is, anyway, nobody knows a fucking thing about AA or Alcoholics Anonymous. God, people have the stupidest ideas about AA. You know? Oh my God. Anyway, I think I'm going to do a video on that someday. I have so much fucking work to do. Anyway, what are we going to do? You want to go? I think we've gotten severely. Where is Nathan? We haven't. Nathan, yeah, he was on the Rage stream last night, wasn't he?
Who?
Leo kept trying to get me in the room, and yesterday I did a bunch of cement work. Man, was I burnt out.
I don't think Leo needs to become a scientist. I think he needs to become one of those auction people at a roadhouse or in an auction house.
Who's
people that talk. Leo?
Oh.
People that talk really fucking quick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he would be a great auctioneer. Yeah. Yep. John has to keep tabs on him. John is pretty good at moderating.
Thing is,
yeah,
I like Leo, but sometimes he just doesn't shut up, which is like annoying. It's like, Jesus, man, like shut the fuck up. Like let other people talk.
We need a remote control.
You need to buy that boy like an electric shock collar.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. Well, there's a lot of people that should have electric shock collars. Like, I think if you work at Home Depot, if you're one of the employees, I don't know if you've ever been to a Home Depot, but the store is like 3.5 miles long, and you see a person like 20 feet away from you, and you really need to know where the fuck, the whatever is, right? And you make eye contact with them, and just briefly, and then he starts walking away real rapidly. I've always wanted a taser. It's like, just tase that motherfucker. And then if you do know what you want at Home Depot, you'll be swarmed by employees asking you, "Can I help you?" But that's only if you already know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you can't fucking stop one of those guys without a high-powered rifle. I mean, Christ, or a fucking tranquilizer gun or something. Anyway, how did I get there?
I don't know.
Yep. How many auctioneers know quantum physics? One.
Well,
Leo.
Exactly one.
Exactly one, right? Yes, there could only be one Leo. Okay. Yeah, the other thing, the guy has like tremendous energy.
He does. He needs to go to like university or something or like test into a graduate program.
He probably could test into a lot of shit, actually. But I got to talk to him today about linear algebra. I've got a guy that did his professor, and I forgot his fucking name. But he wrote a textbook, and he did a really good series on linear algebra with all of his lectures. Do you know who I'm talking about? Shit. I better find out before I start talking about it. I got to talk to Leo about that guy. Anyway, okay, so we're going to end this goddamn thing. This has just gone on too long. We got to kill it. It's in misery. Our stream is in misery. We have to go. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay, bye, guys. I don't know what kind of damage we did today. Hopefully we pissed off Otangelo. We kind of agree with Smokey a little bit. I don't know, whatever. Goodbye. We'll see you later today or tomorrow. Have fun, guys.